This day, this groundbreaking has been a long, long time coming. We've been at this for more than 7 years, since October 2006, some 7.5 years. And here we are, getting ready to break ground. The road has been long, steep, winding, and filled with hurdles, but we've overcome all of them. It was about 3.5 years ago, shortly after the Lyric Theater opened up. They were having a program at the Lyric, and Frank X. Walker, the noted author and poet, said the darndest thing. Frank is here. Wave your hand, Frank. State Kentucky Poet Laureate. All right. Let me tell you what Frank said. Frank said this. He said, Isaac Murphy is to Lexington what Muhammad Ali is to Louisville. Now listen to that. He said, Isaac Murphy is to Lexington what Muhammad Ali is to Louisville. I say, now, what do you mean by that? He said, the difference is Louisville celebrates the accomplishments of Muhammad Ali, and Lexington does not celebrate the accomplishments of Isaac Murphy. It gives me great pleasure this afternoon to announce that changes today. Yes, today we're going to lift up the name of Isaac Murphy and his accomplishments, not only in Lexington, but in horse racing in general.
And folks, here in the East End, you all know that it's been a long time coming. But we have a lot to be proud of in Lexington. One of the roots of that signature industry, the horse industry, right here where we're standing today. Isaac Burns Murphy, the most successful jockey of all time, winning 3 Kentucky Derbies and more than 1/3 of all his races. This park, once the site of Isaac Murphy's home, will honor the contributions of all the pioneers to horse racing within the community. The garden will serve as an extraordinary gathering place, a showcase, we all hope a public art, and a starting point for Lexington's marquee trail, the Legacy Trail. As a trailhead for the Legacy Trail, the Isaac Murphy Garden will connect the East End with the Kentucky Horse Park, where Isaac Murphy's buried. The design of the final section of the trail is underway, and construction will begin next year. As Thomas said so well, this has been a real collaborative effort. You know, sometimes the human spirit has to recognize that in times of adversity, that human spirit triumphs. It doesn't fail. And so much of that has to do with the persistence and the determination that's represented by so many of you all. Mark Arnold and Morgan Dye from Element Design have incorporated many ideas from the community. Those tiles over there, if you all haven't seen them, they're really, really extraordinary. And Connie Rayford, Connie was making sure that the members here from the Mustang Troop and our PAL group is here. So in addition to this original artwork, the Isaac Murphy Memorial Art Garden will include seats made of the native stone, a sunken amphitheater, bike racks, and native plants. And I'm told too that we'll even be able to see the foundation of Isaac Murphy's house. So in just a few months, this half-acre lot will be transformed into an extraordinary place. Something that I know all of you so involved and our community knows that Isaac Murphy himself would be smiling and proud of. So thanks to all of you.
It's a testament to how special this project is that everybody would come out here and brave the elements, and as you can see that it's slacked off for a good occasion. I want to echo some of the comments that have been made earlier, just how excited that I am here to be with you all finally in celebration of the groundbreaking for Isaac Murphy. Mayor Gray, to the dignitaries behind me, to my predecessors in office who worked very hard, Councilwoman Andrea James, Councilman George Brown is in the back, and then also Steve Kay, my colleague, Councilmember at Large, is here as well. The brief comments that I'll share with you talk a little bit about collaboration and how special this project is. Collaboration takes time. It's not easy, and it's hard work. And it's been many, many years of collaboration put into this project. We know the cliche, Mayor, from construction, that it's best to measure twice in order to cut just once. And our engineering staff and the IMEG board, I'm certainly can attest to that we've done just that. There's been much calculation, estimation, deliberation, coordination. Some may argue procrastination, but I don't agree with that. Some needed agitation, and no doubt never ever a shortage of dedication that has moved this project forward. And today we celebrate all of this at a groundbreaking and a new day for Isaac Murphy. It's a project worthy of hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital investment from multiple sources and complex funding streams. It's a publicly dedicated space designed to attract the best of artistic expression, both locally and from far beyond. And it's a diverse and interconnected community that has us here today, which is coalescing around Isaac Murphy from all across Lexington, north, south, east, and west. But some folks may still have at this hour a question of why here, of all places in Lexington. And that's quite simple. This is the right place to serve as trailhead of the Legacy Trail. This is home. If you guys have been keeping up with the sports news over the weekend, that's been a major theme up north in Cleveland of homecoming. But by comparison and like sign, today is a homecoming of sorts in Lexington. The legend of Isaac Murphy, a world-class athlete in his own right, and arguably still to this date, the best jockey in horse racing history, is returning to his homestead at East 3rd Street and Midland Avenue. And for our city, proudly self-proclaimed as the horse capital of the world, to honor Isaac Murphy with the namesake of this top-rate, first-class, and one-of-a-kind park facility is something special. Lexington should be and is very proud of this honor. So in closing, I want to leave that the Isaac Murphy Garden illustrates public-private park collaboration at its best. I'm encouraged that these efforts will yield an appreciable and sustainable community benefit to the East End and to Greater Lexington. Congratulations to all.
It is indeed a remarkable day to be here, and yes, I do have some connections to Isaac Murphy that you may find interesting, or well, I'll let you decide. But I guess it was about 39 years ago when the state of Kentucky decided to buy 1,000 acres of farmland out in northern Fayette County and build the Kentucky Horse Park. And that was a really big venture, and there were a lot of construction projects at the start of that project. And the company that I worked for then, that I own today, built the first 5 or 6 of those projects. One of those projects was to build the stone entry gate. If you're familiar with the horse park, all that stone work. And along in that contract was also the Man of War monument. Well, Man of War, at that point in time, was buried with where his statue was, with his statue out on Huffman Mill Pike in about a 1-acre lot there, along with 7 of his offspring, stakes winners, that were his offspring. And then along in about 1967, Isaac Burns Murphy was disinterred from African Cemetery number 2 and brought to then the place of honor for thoroughbred racing, and that was to be reinterred next to Man of War in this plot of ground. Well, 10 years later, in 1977, it came upon my company, W. Rogers Company, to relocate the Man of War statue, all of his offspring, Man of War's casket, and Isaac Burns Murphy to the horse park where it rests today. So I was part of that 5-man crew who dug up the grave of Man of War, who took his bones, put them in body bags, those of his offspring, and almost as an afterthought, we disinterred the body of Isaac Burns Murphy. They were actually sent in cold storage over to the Whitehall Funeral Chapel, which is now Carrick House, just down the street, and spent 7 months there before the next summer they were reinterred at the horse park by our workers, again, the same crew, to where they rest today. Yeah, man of war, including his offspring and Isaac Burns Murphy. You know, man of war was kind of the focus of all that, but as the weeks and months went by, I kind of thought more about who is this Isaac Burns Murphy? And so you would think, well, okay, well, we would just Google him, right? Well, yeah, 1975, that wasn't an option. 77, 78, that wasn't an option. So it required some research. I had to actually go to the library and look stuff up and do all that and piece things together. And I did quite a bit of that over the years, and I became acquainted with exactly who is it, this man whose bones I actually held in my hand. So let's fast forward tonight to 2007. W. Rogers Company was the presenting sponsor for Leadership Lexington. David Cozart and future Congressman Barr were in that very class. And Leadership Lexington generally has about 3 or 4 projects that the class does. They divide up into groups, have different projects. But this class came together and said, we're going to do one project, and that is we're going to build the Isaac Burns Murphy Memorial Art Garden. You know, Isaac Murphy, he revolutionized the sport of horse racing. He was a tactical jockey. He was back in the day, jockeys just got on the horse and held on, and whoever won, won. But he was smarter than that. He was a tactician. He knew how to rate a horse. He knew how to kind of pull the reins back on the horse, save his energy for that big stretch run, and he would come in and finish, usually winning. And he revolutionized. Now that's what every jockey does during every race. It was that led him to be the highest percentage winner of jockeys ever, and that will never be matched. As I said before, he also won 3 Kentucky Derbies. Clearly, from the late 1870s to the early 1890s, Isaac Burns Murphy was the most famous athlete in the United States at the time. Heard talk of LeBron James. He was the LeBron James of his time. But as great as an athlete as Isaac Burns Murphy was, he was an even better person. Despite his fame, he had this relationship with his wife, Lucille, was faithful. They were in love from their teenage years on up until his death, and that was certainly brought out in Frank's book. There were some people in the horse racing business back in those days that, you know, maybe didn't belong in the horse racing business, maybe a little bit shady, maybe would pay jockeys off to, you know, fix races. Isaac wanted none of that. He loved horse racing for the pure competition. He loved it for the relationship that he had with those horses that he rode, and he loved to win. And he shunned every opportunity, and every chance he got, he reported and shut down any illicit activity in the horse racing business. He was a man of great integrity. To me, Murphy is the connector that puts together the horse racing industry in the East End. As was said, he lived on this very spot just blocks away from the from the Kentucky Association racetrack. The East End is where Lexington's national reputation as the center of thoroughbred racing was begun. This memorial to Isaac Murphy is the beginning of the reconnections between the horse racing industry and its roots right here in the East End.
All right, I like that.
Isaac Murphy is an inspirational figure to me and to all that study his life. I think he can and should be an inspirational role model to not just East End residents, but to residents and children all over Lexington. I look forward to the day when middle school children learn about Isaac in their classrooms and then take a field trip to this very art garden to experience firsthand the incredible legacy of Isaac Burns Murphy. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Try to hit them with the camera. 1, 2, 3. Hey.